Well, it just keeps raining here, as you can see. It's supposed to rain, storm again today, and I'm kind of tired of it. Can't get to anything, can't mow the grass, can't do anything. But did manage to get enough of a break in it to pick up a few things from an auction. I thought I would share them, because I had to come throw some cans back on the exhaust and stuff anyway. So, figured I might as well make a video. So this one, that one, and that one behind it, not my MTA. Obviously. So, I forget, I think one of these, I want to say it's this one. I'm pretty sure it's this one is a 48. If I'm not mistaken. But either way, one of these C's is 48 and one is a 49. I have the hood. I had it off for whatever reason. Now this one, I'm not sure how long it's been since it's run. It's stuck somewhat. That doesn't mean it's stuck very bad. We'll find that out. I gotta get something in it. I will note it shifts in the gears, and you'll find out why that's important in a minute. But it looks like he may have borrowed a couple things off it. The starter switch is gone, the battery box is gone, and the mag is gone. Or somebody did at some point. I don't really know the backstory on it. I do believe it was from Mound, Texas, originally. Or not, I don't think they had a dealer there. That was where it was from. But, anyhow, yeah, it's a 48C. I don't think it's got anything too special. Well, it's even got the rear lights still there. That's sometimes an oddity. It's got a set of weights, so that's worth about 80 bucks. And it's got this, you see this implement frame. Well, this is a row better, and I got the actual units for it with the like the better and the little wheel and stuff like that. They're over there, so I have a whole row better set up. So hopefully get this one going, or move that to the other one, and use it in the garden next year. Bed some rows up instead of using the M. Didn't use anything this year. Sure hadn't been fun. But anyhow, I don't know how bad it stuck. I don't know a whole lot else about it other than that, or either of these other ones for that matter. But I paid, I think it was right at $100 for it. And the tires even hold air. Oh, my bad. Anyway, based on the fact it has weights that are almost worth that much, I didn't feel very bad about it. Okay. Well, we'll come back to this while we're on the topic of seeds. Now, on my barn walk around, I showed, I don't know, 20 tractors maybe. A couple trucks were in there. Well, I do want to point out, can't see anything over here. Everything's so overgrown because I can't mow it. I'd like to point out that over there is many more tractors that are not running. All the ones in the barn run for the most part. So anyhow, let's get to this C and this M, and I'll show you what else I got. Okay, this one I believe is a 49, I think. So like the one I have in the barn, that's in a million pieces. That being said, I don't know that there's any point to have 3 of these. So one of them may go. I may put the one in the barn back together and just sell it like it is, but I don't know. I've also thought about if I was to find a belly mower for one of them, that would be nice. Maybe even get the one in the barn done up and put a belly mower on it. That'd be pretty neat. But anyway, not important right now. So this one was $110 to $49. It's loose. I put this mag on there. It had a Fairbanks that wasn't firing, so I put this H4, and I still hadn't got it started. I got it to fire, but I had this H4 actually had an internal issue that I thought I fixed it, but I haven't yet. So I still got to fix that. It's just the little gear in there that pulls out behind that plate that drives the rotor is not meshed in the proper position. So minor details, but it cranks over fine. I mean, it's almost had it fire up. It was firing, backfired a couple times, so it's close. But this one, I mean, the same as the other one. Now, I did know that some goober decided they needed to torch the axles off. So that being said, this one actually probably will not work in the garden. So this may be the one to put a belly mower on, because I don't think, I'm not sure what kind of row that would make that being almost all the way in, but I'm assuming it's probably smaller than a 38, so that may not work, but whatever. Anyhow, it's cool, it's loose. I think this one was used at some point and hand cranked because it doesn't have a charging system, although it did have a semi newer starter button on it. But it's loose. As I said, I almost had it going. The only issue I'll note with it is that the fan is also loose. For the reason being, I don't know that much about C's because it's the first one I ever had that almost ran. I'm guessing this is supposed to spin on this hub, and that hub bolts to this, and that's your adjustment for the belt. So assuming that, I am assuming that this bearing in here is seized up, and so when I tighten that up, pull it up enough to actually turn the fan, it unscrews it from here, and that's why it gets loose. That's my analysis. But other than that, I think that some work was done to it at some point, because there's that brand new bolt holding the front end on. Well, this one, unfortunately, does have kind of a bad tire on it, which kind of sucks because I've heard these are sort of expensive. I guess not that many things use 36s. I don't know if that's true or not. I read it somewhere on the Facebook, I think. But anyhow, it should make somewhat of an interesting little tractor. Other than that, our last tractor of this segment is this 45 Farmall M, which would be, except for a couple things, probably the most original complete tractor that I've ever had. Now, this one I am almost 100% sure was being used for something a few years back. It's very straight. Sheet metal is very straight. I don't think it's ever been painted based on how rusted it is. So eventually I'll paint it. But the only bad part on the sheet metal, it even has the insert, and the insert's in good shape. Only bad spot is these holes right here, but I can fix those. I can fix those right up. Had pretty new front tires on it. This one holds air, that one doesn't, but it's a 38. I probably have one. But I say it's pretty interesting and complete. Well, it has all of these cultivator cylinders, and the cultivators, I saw them at the place that we picked it up at, but they didn't auction them, unfortunately. I would love to pick them up. I'm going later this week to pick up a set of 4-row that should fit this, though. It's got the brackets. I do note that the crank is snapped off there. I think this MTA has that same problem. I used to hand crank this MTA all the time. Yeah, snapped right off. Used to hand crank that MTA all the time before I had the starter fixed because it didn't ever want to start it. So I would hand crank it, and that was such a blast to hand crank that thing. Anyhow, I like the tow bar, the homemade tow bar that they welded 2 pieces of angle iron together, and I'll keep that. I like those tow bars, even just for around the shop. You want to grab one and you're by yourself, well, you just take your battery in pack, zip that on, hook it up to another tractor, and tug it in the shop. It's really easy. I have another one I had made. It was a copy. It might have been a bought one that I had copied, but it was fancier than that. Is the point? It actually has a curve in it and things like that, if I remember correctly. But anyhow, the only things that are off about the entire thing, the fact that somebody turned this mag into a distributor, which I've seen before on the internet. I've never actually had one that was done, but assuming that like the coil probably went out or something, and they just did that. Yeah. Anyhow, and it has a alternator, but it's actually it's not a 12 SI or 10 SI. It's a 10DN. So that's old school, like a 60s Chevy alternator, not a square body alternator. So that's kind of interesting, but they didn't cut anything up. I've never understood why people do that in the first place. I don't usually put many of those alternators on things, but I mean, I know that they fit under the hood. Do them right. Anyhow, I guess set of weights. I call it nice and original because it's got the backlight. The PTO rod is there. It's got this foot. I've never had one of those before. That's neat. Even the thing that engages the belt pulley. There's an umbrella, and it's got this cultivator valve for those cultivator cylinders, which that's the first one of those I've had. I got the Christmas tree one on an MD, but I don't have this one, so that's kind of neat. But anyhow, that's about it. I bought also a 16-foot cattle trailer. Oh, I gave $200 for this one. It's loose. This was the most expensive thing I bought. About a 16-foot cattle trailer, $150. Farm LC planter for $12 or so. I think Farm LC cultivator, I think it was like $11 or $12. And I got a 55-foot spray boom, 3 mounts on the 3-point, and then 2 saddle tanks. Well, they're round tanks, but they're set up on saddles. I think I gave $150 for that also, so that saved me money in building that I was about to build. But anyhow, yeah, I did all right at this one. Not the best I've ever done, but a lot of people think that was crazy cheap for these tractors, and it was pretty cheap. That's why I bought them. I should have bought the Super C too, but eventually I'll do a video over there of the dead row, and then we can talk about the really cheap tractors, because these were kind of just average compared to some of them I have. But anyhow, thanks for watching. I also picked up this 4-bottom disc plow, or whatever you want to call it. Some people say it's a one way. I always knew a one-way as a disc tiller, and a lot of people say that too. So we're just gonna call it a 4-bottom disc plow, and we're gonna leave it at that. It's a model 34 International. Kind of neat, I guess. It might be fun to play around with when it dries up. Maybe plow the garden up with it. But it was on the auction. It was $11 what I got it for. I have 2 of these scrapers. I don't have all 4 of them, but I don't really think it's that important. I mean, I might bust it out in the middle of summer. There ain't gonna be any moisture enough to stick to these, and I'm not gonna go try to plow much with it. I just thought it was kind of a cool piece, and it's international, and it was $11. Well, regardless of what brand it was, I was gonna buy it for $11. I actually was kind of hoping it'd be something different, like a Oliver or a Massey Harris or something, but nope, it's international. But anyhow, it's interesting, I suppose.